Coffee Q&A here on the Coffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and this is the Coffee Q&A. So if you're first time joining us, the Coffee Q&A is our daily live stream that we do most Monday through Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. We talk about coffee and anything related to coffee, and actually it's related to coffee in any tertiary format. So today we're going to be talking about this bagel from a place called Call Your Mother Bagels in Washington, D.C. It was Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, and the Memorial Day is one of the big holidays. It's the holiday that marks the beginning of the official summertime here in the United States. And so summer in the United States is bookended by Memorial Day in May, at the very end of May, and then there is Labor Day at the beginning of September. And those two bookmarks are what kind of like signifies summertime in America. And so Memorial Day is all about remembering service members who have died in the act of service to the country, like military members who've died in combat. Busa, good to see you, man. How are you doing today? And Labor Day is all about honoring laborers who work for a living. And so yes, so these are both big holidays where a lot of people come to get together with their friends or family. Kent, how are you? And yesterday I got together with George and Andrew at Andrew's house and a whole bunch of other guys from the DC. We have a whole group of friends from the DC area that are cigar enthusiasts. So every once in a while we all get together at Andrew's house, and yesterday was our gathering. And so one of the things before I left, they were like, hey, George was like, you should try this bagel for the show. George, how are you? Good to have you. And here's the bagel. It's from a place in DC called Call Your Mother. Call Your Mother is a bakery started by this couple. One of them is a Jewish guy, and he married an Argentinian chef, Danny, and they opened up this they started doing these bagels at one of the farmers markets a couple years back. And by 2018, they had opened up their first brick and mortar in Forest Park, I think it's called, or close to northwestern DC. And we're gonna give it a try. These, George and them love it, so we're going to have to give it a try. And this particular one looks like it's a poppy seed bagel. Now, from what I read on their website, they put a lot of like honey, what they call chef's kiss of honey, which is actually rather seems like a lot of honey. Now, it's kind of impromptu. I wasn't really thinking about what we would like until about 11 o'clock last night. I hadn't really thought about what we would do, and George was like, you should do this in the show. All right, I'll do that on the show. That sounds good. And I put it in, I said to him, well, how should I cook it? So here's the thing. When it comes to bagels, I personally, I'm a Gentile that grew up in a Jewish neighborhood. So I kind of come at it as a charlatan's point of view, where I like it to be toasted. And I like heavy toasting, so it's nice and crunchy and chewy on the inside, right? And then I want to have it with things like sausage, cheese, eggs, which is definitely not kosher, right? It's not kosher. So that's not allowed. So if I go to some bagel shops and I was like, hey, can I get a bagel with sausage, egg, and cheese? They're like, no. They're like, no, they're a kosher shop. Oh, sorry. So, but I asked George, I said, so how should I cook it? Andrew, half a day to you. And he was like, well, you should, lightly toasted. Because here's the thing. So some places are vehemently against you toasting their bagels. Like, they will probably kick you. Like, if certain places in New York would probably kick you out. Just be like, you should leave now. Don't ever come back, you crazy goyim, right? So he was like, but George, like, you could lightly toast it. So I lightly toasted it, and we're going to get into it. But first, we have to have coffee. And, of course, I have Philadelphia cream cheese, which I kind of like. I know some people, they have whipped versions of cream cheese, but I like the hard, old-school cream cheese. Power Plant, how are you, man? And I like it to be nice and thick. The whipped cream cheese, of course, is whipped, so it's a little bit more, it's still good, but All right, we're going to make some coffee now, and here's the truth. I was sitting around this morning kind of like, daydreaming, and then I looked at my watch, or not my watch, but I looked at the computer screen, and I was like, 9:53. I had nothing prepared other than the fact that the bagel was sitting in the kitchen, and I was like, oh no, I gotta hustle. So I had to hustle and get myself together because I was like, oh no, I am totally hosed at the moment. Okay, so we've been using the, what is it? We've been using this, the Kogu recently. So we're going to use this, the AeroPress Clear. Why? I mean, I'm actually more inclined to use the Kogu, but you know, we've been using that so much lately that I thought, well, it's time to use the other tools that we have here. And we're going to go to the Porlex, and we're going to compare the Porlex to the Kogu, just anecdotally, not really seriously. But so we've been looking at the Porlex recently, and this is very similar. It's got the same kind of like rubberized thing where you can, you know, in the case of the Kogu, it clips in. This you kind of have to shove in, right? But it works the same, and it's very similar in design. Where's the Kogu? Right, so very similar in style. I mean, definitely not the same, but very similar. And like the Kogu, it has ceramic burrs here at the bottom, conical burrs. And you put it in the top. I dare say, though, that it seems when I open it up, the diameter does seem slightly larger. Power Plant says if you ever get a slight nicer hand mill, I think you'll. I know you guys are all. George says, "Oh, it's maple with salt and pepper." Oh, maple with salt and pepper. Okay, gotcha. Booster says, "Loves call your mother." Oh, nice. Oh, you've been there. Okay, excellent. This will be my first time having it. I know you guys are big on hand mills, you know. And remember, for me, it's not a question of. It's not a fact that I dislike hand mills or hand grinding for any reason. Oh yeah, see, that's different. See the lid from the Kogu, very tight. Now this lid is on it goes on the outside diameter, but that just shows that it's a little bit larger. And then we have our adjustment here. Now this looks fairly coarse to me, so I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit. Hope that's not too much and makes me sit here for the next half an hour. So we put this back together. And then we're just going to take our coffee. Let's go back to our Sippy Falls, Uganda. Thank you, Simon. Simon Ochin is the owner, who was an old friend of mine. Kindly gave this coffee to me. It is rather older now. Like, I think a lot of you guys would be very horrified at how old it is. But you know, we just move on. Okay, so now it's more compact, or not as long, right? But like I'm saying, you know, and this one has a different shape to it, and it's longer, so it's gonna give, and it's sweeping, so it's gonna give. I think it makes it easier to twist. Now, does that fit on? Are they interchangeable? Looks like they could be, but they are not, which is a shame. It'd be nice to see if a longer handle would make a big difference. Now we're going to do a little bit of a modified brew on this coffee today, meaning that I don't really know what grind setting we're using, so we'll just kind of go with the flow. Normally on AeroPress we use a very fine grind, and normally 36 grams to make a 12-ounce cup. But today, we're just going to go and make coffee. The coffee is just the vessel, right? The coffee is just the vehicle to talk and hang out. But more importantly, it's one of those things where I think that it's not so. It's important to have a good ratio of coffee to water, as well as temperature of water to cause extraction and time exposure to the water to cause extraction. But I don't think that. I think that depending on your situation, you don't have to be so, meticulous about it, right? Certainly there are moments and occasions where hyper-focus on all of the variables is very important, but not always. Lucy says, I've been going to call your mother, Charlie, in Bethesda for a couple of years. Oh, nice, nice. Paige is with us. Good morning. How are you doing? One day, maybe we'll get a nicer hand grinder there, power plant. I always make my AeroPress concentrate and then bypass the taste. I mean, that's pretty much how I won the United States AeroPress Championship 13 years ago. One of those things where like, oh yeah, I totally swept it. Like I totally aced it. But that was 13 years ago. If I had to do it today, I probably would be totally, almost guaranteed I'd be totally blown out of the water. Okay, so we've got our coffee ground. How much is in here? I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. So we're just gonna take it, pour it in. So we have that much coffee, which actually looks fairly finely ground for, AeroPress. Now, normally when I put 36 grams, it's going to be somewhere right around here. So it's lower. So maybe we're talking like 20 to 24 grams, which is fine. We're not too worried about it. What we're going to do is we're going to take our coffee. We first got to get our filters. We need our filters. Got our paper filters here. So take a paper filter. Now, one of the problems with paper filters is that, if you put it in here, sometimes it comes out. Okay, today it's not coming out, but sometimes, I will do this on my own and it will fall out all the time. And now that I'm trying to prove a point, it doesn't want to come out. Okay, so let's say yours falls out. A lot of times we're going to pour water on it to cause it to stick. If you're making coffee for yourself, you don't have to go to such measures because, I've got water in this thermal, right? If I pour it out, what am I going to pour onto? Something that's going to make a mess. So you can, if you're by yourself and making coffee for yourself or someone that you're very intimate with, stick it on. Now it's not going to work. Now it's not going to work. Okay? Huh? It's even cupped, right? So it's going to fall out. So that will work. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our water and we're just going to pour it in. I should get something that raises it up a little bit here. Let me use this piece of walnut. Okay, now we're going to just pour the water in. A little bit first. We'll do a little bit, and then I need my stirrer. Make sure, I'm going to stir just to make sure that everything is fully saturated. I'm going to bring it all the way up. Nice, nice. And then we're going to put the cap on. We've got our mug here. Well, I probably could have stirred it more. I think for the AeroPress Championship, I stirred it nonstop for 45 seconds. We're just going to let it steep for 45 seconds. Actually, yeah, it looks fairly fine, so we're not going to worry too much about it. So we're going to take this, because we're doing the inverted method, and inverted because this is not how Alan Adler, when he created the AeroPress, prescribed doing it. He wants you to do it the other way, which starts to drip out. And when you're a barista trying to control your variables, you want to have more control and not this uncontrolled drip. So we're going to take our cup, which is a thermal mug from REI. What's it? This is like a Pride cup. Yeah, it says Pride outside. Outside with pride. All right, so put that on there. Turn it over. And now we just give light, even pressure and push down. Like you'll see baristas and they'll be giving it their all. They're like, it looks like they're like trying to do the Olympics or something. You're like, what are you doing, man? Why are you pushing so hard? You just need to push a little bit. Give it some finesse, right? Nothing is good by mashing it down. Sometimes you enjoy that, but most of the time, nobody really enjoys that. So you just want to finesse it, right? Just give light, gentle pressure. I mean, you could do that, but and maybe there's an opportunity for that. But I like a little bit more finesse. And then when you hear the hiss, there'll be a hiss. There's a hiss. Once you hear the hiss, then you've pushed everything, all the liquid out of the AeroPress, and now you're just pushing the air gap through the coffee. So you push through that air gap to try to get as much liquid out of that. And then when you turn it over, when you turn it up this way, you want to make sure you don't take it off like this. I mean, you can, but if you take it off like this and go away from it, there's typically coffee that's pooling here at the bottom, and it just kind of falls off, and then it makes mess, right? So if you do this tilt and allow it to run off into your cup, you can then turn it over with very minimal dripping, if any drips at all. And these are things that, as a barista, we're in a commercial environment, you try to think about, because you want to reduce the amount of times that you're going to want to make it as efficient as possible. Because let's say you drip, now you have to take your towel, get your towel and wipe it down and clean off your surface so that you have a clean surface to continue working on. So now we've got this great brewed coffee here, right? This is a straight up brew, 4.5 ounces of water, fairly concentrated, but we're going to add some water to it to do the bypass. Just going to add that much. Do we need to have that much? Is it too much? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. No, not too much. Just right. Just right. Good, 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 good. So, what did I miss while I was brewing? Powerplant says, I like to use my Generation 1 Kova disc. Now, Able disc. It was a small revelation when it came. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Good morning to you, bald head. Craig, Peter, good to see you. Okay. So now we've got our coffee, and I need to put a lid on it so that we don't have too much thermal loss. As you can see, I'm not. Oh, here it is. A little bit of a dark lid. Not terribly well prepared because, like I said a few minutes ago, at 9:53, I was just sitting around just kind of daydreaming. And I was like, oh my gosh, I only have 7 minutes to start. And I was able to start in 7 minutes. So I had to run around and get everything together. Okay, so we've got our, let's see here. We got our bagels. This is the bagel, the salt and pepper maple syrup bagel from Call Your Mother. We got Philadelphia cream cheese. Now I asked George, what should I try? And he's like, you just try this. Try it with the straight cream cheese. I was like, all right, straight cream cheese it is. And you can buy all kinds of cream cheeses. I've even looked into making my own. It's a bit of it's a bit of involved process. Like there has to be. In my world, there's this whole thing of like, oh, we want to make it, right? And there's a level of psychosis that comes along with making your own stuff because you're like obsessed with doing it right or just doing it in a certain way. And, and I decided that, we're not really like focused on, why can't I open this? What's wrong with me? We're not really a shop, we're a coffee shop that's not a bagel shop and not focused on, bagels. We had bagels a couple times. So it would be crazy to try to make our own cream cheese. So Philadelphia is a great brand. I think, I love them. I love Philadelphia. So we've got our bagel. It's very like sticky. I don't like sticky stuff on my fingers. Like it's not as bad though. Like I don't mind sticky stuff as much. Like what I really don't like when I'm making, let's say, dough, and you're handling the dough, and the dough is wet, and you know how the dough builds up on your fingers? Okay, that is the one thing in the world that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like I'm all like, But this sticky is a little bit like that, but not like I can totally deal with it. Now I don't know why. I think it looks heavier here. Page says it's egg wash. No, it's maple syrup that's on top of this page. And evidently this is where the two bagels touched and kind of baked together because it looks like it's sticking in more George says flour. I mean, even if there's sometimes when you flour your hands and it still sticks. Oh gosh, it just makes me. It's really the worst thing. So I lightly toasted it before we started. Like, see that 7 minutes. If you put your mind to it, you can do so much in just a short amount of time. So it's not a crunchy toast. It's just a light toast. There's a little bit of resistance, but it's got nice chewiness. Now here's the thing. So the guy, the husband of the two, and I have forgotten his name. If you guys remember, let me know. Danny is the Argentinian wife chef. That I evidently, according to the website, this is only from what I've read on the website. They talk about the intention is to take the best of New York and Montreal. Montreal has a whole different style of bagel. Well, a different interpretation of bagel. I forgot exactly what the difference is. Bagels are made by taking like your bread, your dough, creating a ring, putting it in a bath of water, hot water, and boiling it to give a little bit of crushes, and then you go straight into the oven and bake it. I forgot what Montreal does, and I've had Montreal bagels, but it's been so long. Like, I don't think I've been to Montreal since like 2008, so I don't really recall what it was like. Paige says, neurodivergence, I have those sensory reactions to certain, yeah, exactly. It's so, that's like the one thing that truly bothers me in like food preparation. You're like, oh gosh. Power Plant says, the secret to getting the flour off your hands is to simply chop them off. It's just the fact that it's building up. Like, even if I'm doing this, like just even a small layer of it building, like I think it's because, for me, I think I like the tactile feel. So once I start to lose tactile feel, I think that's what freaks me. I'm all like, it's like, oh God. George says, always keep a bowl of cold water nearby so handling dough doesn't get warm as you need. Flour your hands, work the dough, okay, and occasionally dip them. I work on that. And I don't do a lot of dough work, honestly, because I just don't like the kneading part of it. Like, I'd rather put it into the mixer with the kneading hook and just let it do it. Like, I don't want. I'm not a good baker. I'm an okay baker. I'm a much better cook than a baker. So, George says Montreal bagels are smaller, denser, sweeter. Oh, that's what it is. It's they put, is it maple syrup they put in the Montreal bagels? Anyway, so let's get to it. As you realize, Paige says, I want to try my hand at making focaccia. Ooh, you should totally. We've got two halves. Power Plant says, artisan bread in 5 minutes a day is a great lazy bread book. Ooh, all right, I'll look that up. And so we've got salt and pepper, right? Salt and pepper. And now we're just gonna oh, did somebody ask? Yeah, Andrew says, I'll call your mother. Did I miss somebody's thoughts? So now we've got our knife. And we're just gonna take some chunky, I like to put quite a generous amount. Well, I guess maybe it's not a generous amount. Let's see. I like to put quite a bit. Now, here's my concerns, and I know you guys, especially like Busa, Andrew, and George, like I know you guys are liking this, so it's coming very well recommended. But when I was reading the website and they were talking about New York, they'd want to do kind of a combination of New York and Montreal style bagels. It did kind of like raise a question mark in my mind at that moment, because it's like, do you want to do a hybrid or something? It's like It's like my experience with pad see ew in Bangkok, where I went to Mark Wien's place. And Mark Wien's pad see ew was supposed to be the best pad see ew. The idea behind it was they want to make the best pad see ew, but he's partnered with 3 other friends, so there's 4 of them. You bringing their experiences with their favorite pad see ews and trying to make them into one pad see ew to rule the world. And it's good, but Oh, Pad Capral, you're right, totally. Yeah, sorry. And they make this Capral place, and it's good. It's good. But I didn't think it was awesome. And I've had a lot of Pad Capral from different places. So I was like, it's good. It's good. It was interesting to visit, but I was like, so my first thought when I read that on their website this morning, I was like, I hope it's great. Huh? Chewy, a lot of resistance. Now, one of the things about this, Andrew says, looks great, need some lox and a slice of tomato. Oh, that I should get some lox. In fact, well, I thought that I had salmon lox, but I do not. Well, we're going to continue on. So, but actually, now, to be fair, George bought this bagel from their shop yesterday morning, and it has to be yesterday morning because all of us were hanging out all throughout the day and evening, and he gave it to me last night, so I presume it had to be in the morning. So this bagel is now 24 hours old, and when I brought it home, I kept it wrapped in a paper towel, left it on the counter. I did not freeze it like I normally do. Like what I normally do when I buy bagels, like en masse, I take the bagels. As soon as I get home, I cling film them individually and then put them in the freezer and freeze them hard and then when it's time to use, I thaw them out and use them, and it preserves it very well. But this is definitely just straight time from yesterday. Oh, there's a lot of resistance. I suspect there's a lot more resistance than it was fresh yesterday. This is not to say the resistance is too much, but it is probably more than it would have been had we gone straight to the place and bought it there. But it's still good. Like, actually, I really like it. And that black pepper, now I'm eating the bottom first. So the black pepper, there's a little twinge of black pepper that sat there. And actually, I'm finding that to be quite an interesting way to go. Plan says, Dave's Killer Bread has good bagels for supermarket quality. Oh, they have a much nicer texture than other brands. Oh, I'll have to maybe give that a try. Well, yeah, next time. George says, you're making it sound... I hope you guys have eaten by now. Power Plant says, fresh bagels equals no toasting. Day old needs toasting. Yeah, you know what? But if I go to the place that I get, the last time we showed bagels was from T-Neck Road Bagels. Like when I was there last time, I said to him, hey, because since I was on the way to Connecticut, I said to the guy, hey, give me a dozen bagels, and can I also get a bagel for the road with some cream cheese? And he says, do you do the toasting, or are you against toasting? He said, well, I'm against toasting, but we'll do it for you anyway if you want. I was like, I'll have it your way. But some places are very adamant about not toasting their bagel. And honestly, if the bagel is really hot or very fresh, straight out of the relatively recently out of the oven, you don't really need to toast it. Actually, that's really good. Like there's a light sweetness from the maple. All right, now, very chewy, which I like. Paige says, I want a little bit of crispness to the inside of the bagel. I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. But actually, this is really good. Like the sweetness of the maple, a little bit of tinge from the pepper, and the texture. Gosh, I like the texture. Very chewy. Now, it could become an Asian guy. Asians tend to like that chewy mochi kind of thing, which I really do like. Now, compare this to Teaneck Road. Teaneck Road in Teaneck, New Jersey is an excellent, like, top-level bagel. It's the exterior is crisp, chewy on the inside. This is not crisp, and this is not as crisp as of a crust as the Teaneck Road, but it's got a very nice chew. It's different, but I wouldn't say that the Teaneck Road is necessarily better or this is worse. It's just different. They're both very, like, this is very good. Like, I'm not disappointed. Now, let's see what the Sippy Falls. Paige asks if I've ever had sourdough bagel. I don't believe I have. Would bagel people, would bagel meisters consider sourdough bagels an abomination? This is actually a question that you make me think of. I don't know. I don't think I have. I can't recall any place that I've been to that actually has sourdough bagels. Are they good? Coffee Cove is with us. What's going on, man? How are you doing? Busa says that I'm not strictly a purist when it comes to food. I enjoy new style fusion foods. In today's food scene, I've noticed that you have to stay flexible to stay true. Very true. George says soft, warm, and what I bought it. Gotcha. I mean, there's going to be some change, of course. Coffee Cove, how are you? Powerplant says, I've said it before, but I respect places that just focus on one thing and do it. And I gotta say, they are doing, this is actually very good. I'm not disappointed. Powerplant says, in Singapore, they QQ, when it comes to their product. Oh, they like that. Gotcha. Especially when it comes, like in the noodles, especially. Yes, I love noodles. This is the maple-coated version, says George. Coffee Cove says, I went by the drive-thru at a local coffee shop and ordered a bagel with cream cheese. Took off and wound up getting a croissant with, oh gosh. I don't think that if you're thinking I'm going to order me a bagel with cream cheese and you get a croissant with cream cheese, I don't think that suffices. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a terrible thing. George says that Andrew's Everything Bagel will be nicer. Excellent, nice and crusty. Russell's with us. Go to Russell. Pop's Bagel in Culver City became popular when a New York Times critic declared it better than New York City. See, where were you the other day, Russell? Who was complaining the other day that there are no good bagels in LA? Evidently, their bagels better than NYC. Of course, people will be upset in New York. Paige says, I'm friends with our local bagel folks, and that's what they make. Oh, they're originally from Baltimore. They sell out every weekend when they set up at the. Oh, that's very interesting. I've never tried that. Purple says too many places say sourdough, and it makes people think they are going to get something that tastes sour. True, but I mean, I think a lot of people also think about like San Francisco style sourdough breads, which does have a sour taste to it. Which is actually why I was never a big fan of sourdough as I was, when I was younger. I'm much more adaptable to it today in modern times. But years ago, I was like, ugh, God, why do I want that? I just want, give me a good baguette. I don't want any of this sourdough nonsense. All this like yeasties doing, who knows what they're doing. Give me fresh yeast. Fresh yeast, not old yeast. But you live and you learn. You know, the hubris of youth is always like, okay, now we've got the top. I put the top, and the top has more toppings. So I'm expecting to have a little bit more of a different flavor experience. Paige says these aren't super sour. They just have this great flavor. Oh, that sounds good. Sounds good. Oh. Now I'm getting the salt. That gives a little bit better dimension. The salt with the maple syrup. Oh yeah, that's nice. So when we were talking about this last night, before I left, George was like, you should do one of these bagels on your show. And I was like, bagel? I just did that last week. Why would I want to do bagel this week? But I was like, okay, well, let's try it. I have to be open. And he said, which bagel do you want? I said, well, what bagel should I have? Well, Andrew wants to have everything, so you can't have that. I was like, oh, fine. What should I try? He's like, if I had been able to choose, I might have taken the everything bagel. But an everything bagel is an everything bagel. So what does that give you? Like I would never have thought to, I never would have thought to even make a maple syrup with salt and pepper. So to get this one, so George chose this one, and it's one that I would not have necessarily chosen had I been left to my own devices. But that's part of the reason why a lot of times when we go to the different shops, and I'll ask them, what do you like? Because I need to go beyond my preconceptions. And darn it, that's really good. Like, that last bite, right? You know how you bite something? Your tongue is touching here. So you're getting some of that sweetness from the syrup. You're getting a little bit of saltiness from the salt. And a little bit of that black pepper. And actually, really. M0 says, what's going on, M0? How are you? Great name for a shop? Yeah, call your mother. I had to remember. PowerPoint says, in Korea, my favorite fast food chain was called Mom's Touch. It was excellent, and it was Cajun themed for some reason. Oh, they had great Cajun fried chicken sandwich. Oh, nice. Your comment about Mom's Touch reminds me of a conversation we had yesterday with the guys, and one of the guys was like, I went to this place and I had grits, and grits are a very popular thing in the American South. How many grits are something from the corn, right? It's kind of, if you can imagine like an oatmeal made from corn or a congee made from corn, essentially that's what that is. And it's very like straight up oatmeal, like straight up congee. It's very like bland, neutral, flavor-wise. So one of our guys, friends, Lando, was talking about, well, in different parts of America, in different parts of the South, they're very regional. Some places put butter, salt and pepper. Some places will put like sugar. Other places, like in the South, in Louisiana, they'll put like spices and make it with like shrimp and grits. Because one of our friends was like, well, they kind of wanted they were kind of upset when I made mine, because they give you the grits and then you add whatever you want to it. And Orlando was like, well, people, depending where they're from, if whatever state they're from, if you prepare it in a way that's different than their state, they kind of get a little bit upset. And I kind of joked. I was like, well, he probably put jam in it. And I was like, I did put jam in it. I was like, oh my gosh, jam. Yeah, nobody does that. he's like, but it's true. Like he was like, well, but it's like oatmeal, right? You'll put fruit in oatmeal, right? We put apples and cinnamon and sugar and all that. So that totally makes sense. But I was just kind of like laughing because I was like, oh yeah, nobody puts jam in their grits. Like that's funny. I was like, that's funny. Peter says we only recently got half decent Mexican food due to a sudden increase in Mexican immigrants. Oh, really? Mexican immigrants in Australia? Oh, man, they're all over the place. Power Plant says polenta is great too. Oh, I see. Peter says it'll be hard to find bagels in the 150,000 kilometer mile radius. George says, forgive me for... yeah, poor choice. Poor choice indeed. Peter says, we're backwards out in the bush, but you see all those cool animals, right? Yeah, I am enjoying this though. This black pepper's got a really, like, I'm getting more of that black pepper sensation here in the back of the throat, across the palate. It's very interesting. I'm disappointed I don't have any more lox here because I wonder how that flavor would play with these other flavors, especially the sweet. I may have to go to this place. Once my supply of Teaneck Road bagels have been depleted. But they're very different. Like this is like, it doesn't have the outside like crunchy texture that you can get from the Teaneck Road bagels. But still very good. Still very good. And the coffee. Actually, this coffee, which we've had quite a few times here. The coffee today is meant to be an accompaniment to the bagel rather than the front stage. And we've used this as our front stage coffee, and it's very nice coffee, but it's got nice round body. It's got good flavor. It's got good, not too roasted. I mean, it's really a great all-around coffee. And it's just so complimentary. Like it's not battling for attention. It's just kind of like being a great accompaniment, like the perfect accompaniment. Like I think if I chose another coffee, like maybe even the Saudi coffee that we have, the one from Colombia, the natural anaerobic process, I think that would compete flavor-wise. Where this, and you know what, I need a little bit more. I need to put a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that was good. Thank you, George. Thank you, Andrew. That bagel was delicious. Delicious. So how was your guys' weekend? Anything interesting? We went, of course, here, like I said before, this past weekend was a holiday here in the United States. So we had a day off yesterday. So, and then the weekend, what did I do the weekend? The weekend was busy. Oh, that's something that reminds me. We will not be doing a live stream on Friday. One of my friend's fathers passed away on Saturday, and the funeral is Friday morning. So that happens at actually the funeral, the wake starts at 9 a.m. So we will not be having a live stream on Friday because I have to be there. And Yeah. So we'll do the next 2 days and then none on Friday. Sorry about that. Oh, that's good. That was really, oh, man, that's really good. What else? I did get some shoes. I finally got these shoes. I got these pair of shoes. I've been needing some shoes for the workshop. Now, I have work shoes and I have work boots. The problem with the boots that I have is that they are, oh, let's see. Busa says, I participated in the rolling rim. Oh, you went to that was on Saturday, on Sunday. Wasn't that, we were actually talking about that yesterday. Didn't they used to have that actually on Memorial Day Monday instead of a Sunday? But what was I saying? So it's getting to be summertime, and I've got these boots, and these are like what's called muck boots. So they're like waterproof and kind of like rubberized. Wintertime, they're really great. But once it starts to get warm, the problem is that they're pretty. Oh yes, on Sunday. Okay, they're pretty like they're very well sealed, so you start to sweat in them more because it's hotter. So I wanted to get something lightweight and airy for summertime use. And I had been looking at these Ariat boots, which are a Western boot. They have and I wanted to have, like safety toe because I'm working here in the workshop. And I do have like regular shoes, like work shoes, but they're not safety toe. And I wanted to get something that would be, a little bit more safer in case I drop on my foot. And the Ariats were nice, but the problem with like boots, like Western boots, if you have Western boots, is that if you're a guy, you can't wear shorts with those. Like, that's not the look you want to see any man wearing. Like, that's just weird. Even and I love to wear shorts, and I want to find a reason to wear shorts most of the time that I possibly can. And while I'm very comfortable with my personal style and my personal sexuality and whatever that it may be, I am not so comfortable. Like I am not as advanced. I'm not advanced enough to wear Western boots with shorts. Like I am not comfortable I'm not comfortable enough to buck convention that far. Like I just never see it. And I had searched on the internet like a couple years ago. I was like, looking for men, shorts, Western boots. And I was like, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. So I needed to find something different. And I was looking for Chelsea boots that are also Ariats. The Chelsea boots, I think you can wear Chelsea boots with shorts. I think that's all right. Western boots, that looks weird. But I couldn't find one locally, and I like to buy local. So I was like, and the ones that I found online from Ariat were like $160. I was like, $160? I don't want to spend $160 on like shoes. And the dumb thing is that, yeah, I don't want to spend $160 on shoes. But if you chop off your foot, then, that costs you a lot more. But I was like, still. So I found these on Zappos. Avengers shoes. Looks like Vans, right? Kind of that Vans style. But it has the safety toe, right? So if you see here, and they're fairly comfortable. Like my problem is that I've got these feet that are pretty wide. They used to be very chubby, but now they're not so chubby and not as chubby as before. But they're wide, so it's a little bit of a pain to find shoes that fit. But these fit pretty well. So I just got them the other day. As you can see, they're a little bit dirty already. So I've been using them around the shop here. So now I'm ready for summer. That's my big achievement for. Kent says, I've never had a bagel. It's not very common here, but I'd like to give it a try. I don't know where you could go to in Norway to try those. Now, if I come out to Norway, I'll bring some with me, and then you can try them. Busa says that everything in Australia is trying to delete you or eat you. I think so. Maybe that's why. Peter's so ornery, because he's always like having to fight in the bush. I guess the question is, do you carry a big knife like Crocodile Dundee? And, are you old enough to understand my reference to Crocodile Dundee? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh, yeah, there's certain things we talk about. Like, oh God, do people even understand that now? Like, I think about things we may talk about from the '90s. Like, I was with my nieces on Sunday, and I'm like, the oldest of my nieces is like 27. So she has no experience in the '90s. I'm like, gosh. And the youngest is like 12. I was like, man, I can't talk about '90s stuff because they would have no idea what we're talking about. You know, when your uncle comes from the 1900s, like, terrible, terrible. So how was the ride on Sunday there, Busa? Was it really, is it really long? Oh, wait, I'm not sure if since it's the first time you attend. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. George says that Rolling Thunder was originally a tribute to Vietnam War POWs, MIAs. There was always a Memorial Day proper. Ah, okay. Paige says Post Malone wears shorts and boots, but if I had the tattoos of Post Malone, I'd probably be all right with doing it. But yeah, I'm not. I'm just a small YouTuber, not a big rock star. I like Post Malone's music though. It took me a while to figure out who he was, and then I was like, oh, I know that song. That whole like, what was that song? Something, something now. Da, 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 da. I like that song. I saw no singing, no singing. We're not doing that singing thing. Russell said, that's not a knife. Booster says, you're just the just uncle dropping off her off the mall. I know, man. It's so terrible. Well, it was funny because we got there and like, so my nephew is the youngest one, right? So he was like, I want to go look at these, I want to go look at, so we first went to a place. There's a new shop called, I don't remember the name of the shop, but there's, all the girls wanted to go get the Lulu Boo Boo, whatever it's called, Lulu Boo Boo. This shop just opened here in Baltimore, like recently, like in the last week or so. One of my friends who went there, I guess he went, I want to think that he went there because his wife wanted to go and she likes cute things, but he probably went because he wanted to buy them. And he was like, I waited 3 hours to get my Lububu. And I was like, you waited 3 hours? Good God, man, you're crazy. And he posted about it on his Instagram. And I was like, I replied to him and said, well, dude, we just walked in on Saturday or Sunday and walked straight up to the counter. But we got there at the right moment. Like we got there right around 2 o'clock, walked in, nobody was there. There's maybe one couple at the counter buying like a whole box set of Lububus. My nieces were like, ooh, we want Lububus. So they went and bought their Lububus and they went straight up to the counter and they bought, but as they were paying, suddenly the line jumped to like from the back of the store to the front of the store. And I was like, whoa, whoa. At that moment, I was thinking maybe I should have got a Labubu. Now, Labubu, if you're not familiar with it, these are like little collectibles, you know, kind of like a My Little Pony from previous generations or Sour Patch Kids, but they're smaller, right? They're smaller, and they have a little keychain connector on them so you can hang them from stuff. But they're like these little creatures, stuffed fuzzy creatures. So if you get the Labubu, it's like about $20. And you buy the Labubu, but you don't know what Labubu. Like, you know, like if you go to the store, you can say, oh, okay, I see that I have this mug. It's black. It says, you know, outside with pride. I know exactly what I'm buying. But Labubu, let's say there's like 10 different mugs. Well, the mug is inside packaging. So there's a wrapper that covers it. And that is now inside a box that is just Labubu or mug. And then you buy it. It's collectible, but you don't know what's inside. You just kind of got to go with the flow. Luckily, one of my nieces got exactly what she wanted, who she wanted, so that was nice. But, you know, that's kind of the whole thing. It's collectible, so people like, and it's limited edition, so people are like, you know, chasing after it. Very smart marketing. But I was like, dude, you waited 3 hours in line? That sucks. Like, even when the iPhone #1, the first iPhone came out, because I was telling my nieces, I was like, you know, when the iPhone first came out, I got my iPhone, first gen iPhone. I got it the day it was released. But I didn't wait in line. Like, you know, if you always hear these like people waiting in line, like, and I think back then people waited in line for like 3 days to get their iPhone. And I was like, and I always, the moment that Steve Jobs announced the iPhone in January 2007, it was like, what's coming out in June? I was like, God, June, good Lord. But I was like, I'm buying it. I'm going to buy that straight up. And so, but I saw people camping out. I was like, I'm not camping out. That's just dumb. I'm not doing any of that. I will get it when I get it. But I happened to decide that. So it got released that morning, like 10 a.m. So at about 2 o'clock, I was like, let me go by the mall. So I went by the mall, went by the store, and I walked into the store. Nobody was in, there was no line anymore. It was all gone. It was really calm. I said, do you have any more iPhones? They're like, we do. And I was like, all right, let me buy one. Like, I don't want to, like, I don't need to be first in line to get it. Like, maybe you want to be first in line to like Chick-fil-A when they open their new locations, because then you get like free Chick-fil-A. But what, I'm gonna pay you $700 for a phone, and I get to have it, hours before others? Forget it. That's not worth it. Paige says, my favorite Chelsea boots are by Thursday Leather. They were $160, but so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I definitely think that, quality footwear is worth the money, but I just didn't feel, I was like, I don't want to spend that much money right now. Like, then I found these for $40. I was like, $40, that's how much I want to spend. Peter says Crocodile Dundee was a real guy based off a local character. He got shot by the police because of the knife, or why did he get shot by the police? Good Lord. Guy brings love and like an honor to Australia, and they kill him. Booster says the ride was great, and it wasn't too long of a ride since they have to block off streets in the city. Oh, okay. Peter said Labubu. Okay, Labubu. Ledu, and then there's Ledu. Don't look at that up. Okay, we're not gonna look that up. Paige says Posty does a bit of everything now. Rap, pop, country. Yeah, I do like his music. You know who else? I like Macklemore as well. Actually, one of my former baristas is Macklemore's trombonist, Darius. And Darius is a great guy. Like, he's a great guy, really great talent. But at the time they worked for me years ago, he was 15 years old. And he was the youngest competitor in the barista competitions ever. I think even to this day, he was 15 years old when he competed in the United States Mid-Atlantic Regionals barista competition. He took fifth place. Fifth place? Yeah, fifth place. So he did very well. And, in a field of like maybe 15, 20 people, he did very well. So, great guy. And one day it was a New Year's Eve special, and I'm just happened to be watching it. I don't really watch New Year's Eve special, but just for whatever reason at that moment I was tuning in, and I was like, and Macklemore was playing, and I was like, holy smokes, there's Darius. So I messaged him. I was like, dude, I just saw you on like New Year's Eve or the next day or whatever it was. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Such an awesome guy. Also awesome, like beautiful hearted person, man. Proplan says, I'll just stick to gachapon. Oh, those are the ones in the vending machines, right? Paige likes Lululemon. I understand. Peter says, maybe you should do that with your coffee. You don't know what you're getting. Here's your herbal tea. That would be funny. That would be fun. I think we'd have angry guests for that. That would be interesting. Maybe we should do that. Like, there's a magic geisha in there, so everything is like the same price, but you don't know what's in the box. What's in the box? I'll have to think about that. Well, Craig says that Labubu, 870 million in sales in the first 6 months of wow, really? I had never even heard of Labubu until until Sunday. I was like, where are we going? Labubu. What is Labubu? Now, they did have a Labubu like this. They had a Labubu. So one Labubu, and I don't know if this is they consider a Labubu, but they had this little one figurine of E.T. and Elliot. Who cares about Elliot? But E.T., super cute. I was like, oh, I want to buy that. And then they had this big Labubu. I guess it's big Labubu, like a statuette, like this size. And I don't remember what exactly it was, but I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I would dig that. $395. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, remember those bears, the big bears? Those like ones that look like Lego bears? Like, I always thought it'd be kind of cool to have one of the big ones, but they were like expensive. I was like, is that worth investing in? Like, is that worth buying? Like, that seems a bit steep. bit steep. Peter says, I need a t-shirt. I hate Labubu people. See, you spend too much time out in the bush. You need to come back to like where crocodiles and like little big insects are not trying to eat you, so that you can, find that calm once again. Find that calm. George says that the Thursday boot makes great footwear. Okay, good. Ladudu in number 2, says Andrew. Paige says, I've had my Chelsea boots since 2020, and they're a staple for me in the fall and winter. I want a few more styles. Oh, yeah. I'm going to look that up. I've seen some of their ads come across my feed. I have to look it up more. Peter says, not same price. You might be lucky and get a $100 geisha. And now gotcha. Yeah. I think same price would be good. Like $20, $25. Mystery box of coffee. Paige says, I don't own anything Lululemon. I think if you had the Lululemon pants with the Chelsea boots, that might be a good style. It might be a good style, especially if like the dark Lululemon pants with the, like, let's say they're like tan Chelsea boots. Like you're like, oh, I like that contrast. That could be kind of nice. I thought you were trying to say that and not Lububu. Oh, gotcha. No. I do know what Lululemon is. I've seen a lot of Lululemon. You're like, oh, you bought more Lululemon. Nice. I appreciate that. Powerplant says Bear Brick. Yeah, Bear Brick. Yeah, oh, yeah, Bear Brick. Are those still popular, Bear Bricks? Peter says, I'm not looking up Lululemon and not another. Yeah, no, don't look up Lululemon. Craig says, I didn't get the Bear Brick. I mean, I just thought the Bear Bricks were cool. Like, there's one Bear Brick that I saw that was gold. And I was like, this big, huge Bear Brick. I think it was like $600. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, there's a cool factor. Like, I just thought it looked cool, but I was like, man, I'm not paying $600 for that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Powerplant says the guy who started Lululemon is a creep. Oh, it's a guy that started Lululemon? I've always thought, my understanding of Lululemon is that it's very limited, right? Like, it's a yoga pants company, right? Like, because all I know that the people that wear Lululemon, it's mostly women, right? It's not a Canadian creep, says Craig. Oh, all right. Well, no Lululemon for us then. I thought it was with female brand. And what I found recently is that Ariat is a female-operated brand. I was like, huh, interesting. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, Western. Peter says, I just looked up. Oh, you don't. Is there not Lululemon in Australia? Powerplant says, my cousin owns a couple of the large metallic Bear Bricks are, but he works for a Swiss jewelry company. Oh, does that mean he makes? That means he makes a lot of money, and that's not a big deal, right? Peter says, I'm liking. Oh gosh, what are we liking there? Goodness, you're liking the models, which I can't deny that I haven't looked at. Tights. They're very tight. They're very tight. Oh, they can be very tight. All right, we should stop before we get canceled. All right, so tights, all right, well, yeah. Let's back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A. Good to see all of you. It's been no yoga. I thought about going to yoga classes. I thought about it. It's like, oh, there are women at yoga classes. I should go to yoga. There's many things that I should have done in my life. Here's the problem with guys, right? Guys like to do guy stuff, right? Which is a totally like not intelligent thing. Like, as I gotten older, I realized that what I should have done was become a cheerleader. If I had been like, guys want to play sports and be cool, but you know what? Who's hanging out with all the girls? The male cheerleaders are hanging out with the girls all the time. And you're like, wow, there has to be, like, that was My cousin went to become a makeup artist for MAC Cosmetics. That paid dividends. I was like, what in the world? What was I thinking? Like, I totally wanted to be in movies and like be cool. That was dumb. That was dumb. So, if you're young in the world and thinking about like, oh, how can I meet girls? Go be a cheerleader. You'll meet a lot of girls. Craig says male cheerleader for friends. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think you just get more exposure to women. It's like the way that I see it is like this, right? Like, you can't get hit by the train if you don't lie on the tracks, right? And what do guys do? Guys hang out with guys. It's always guys. It's always sausage fest. Like, I think about all my friend groups. I think there's a lot of sausage happening around here, and all guys are hanging out. We have great conversations. We have great experiences. But you know what? It's like there's not too many women. We need more women. We need more women. We need more women. All right. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A. Hope you have a wonderful day out there or evening, depending where you are in the world. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks, Kent, and everybody. See you next time.